Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Sriraj Melat back with another video. This is the chapter 4 of our JavaScript for React.js beginners, and in this chapter we're gonna discuss about the return statement in JavaScript. So let's have a quick look into what is return in JavaScript. So in JavaScript, return statement is used inside a function, and that is actually used to end the function execution. So simply we can say the return will be the last statement of a function. So after return statement, no other code inside a function will be executed. So return will act as the last statement. There the function execution will end, and further the next lines of codes won't execute. That means the next lines of code inside the function block. So suppose if below the return and above these closing bracket there are some lines of code that won't execute, because return will act as the last statement. So return also work by returning some values. So inside a function block, if we add a return statement, it will be returning some values or returning undefined or any calculation values like that. So if we look into this example of add, we are taking some parameters a and b. Then it is returning a plus b. That means the sum of these two values will be returned. So in our previous chapter where we discussed about parameters of a function, we used the console statement for printing some values. So here instead of the console we are using a return statement. So it will return some value. So the returned value we are catching to a variable here. If you see, we are calling the function and the function will return some value. That value we are assigning to a variable called sum. Then we are consoling the variable called sum. So this is common practice of using a function. So when it comes to React and all, we commonly use a return statement inside a function. So in React, if we take a component, so component will be a JavaScript function, and that function will be returning a block of code. The block of code will be a JSX, or simply we can say it's a kind of HTML code. React component will execute and it will return some kind of code. So that will be discussed when we talk more detail about React chapters. So here basic idea about return is simply return is the last statement inside a function, and it acts as the end of the function execution, and it will be specifying some value the function should produce. That means the function is actually a block of code that is performing some action. In the end of the action, the function will give some result or some output. So that output is returned using the return statement in function. So when return is executed, the function stops immediately. Nothing else inside the function will be executed. The specified values become the result of the function call. So that means here return will give the result or the final output of this function call. Function will be doing some action or performing some action that will give a result. The result will be returned by the return function. That's simple. So that's how simple return statement is, and return is very important when it comes to functions. We commonly use the return statement. So in the previous 2-3 videos I haven't mentioned about the return statement, so we were just using the console. So here onwards we will be using return statement more commonly. So let's quickly try out the working of the return statement. For that I am just quickly writing a function, and function will be hello. In the earlier videos we used to write console.log of, like console.log of hello user, for example. Okay, usually we used to console here directly. Then if I run, you can see nothing is coming because we haven't called the function here. So I will just call hello here. So the function is defined here, function is called here. Then if I run, you can see hello user. So this is called here. So if I replace this with return, let's see what is happening. Return hello user. So this is the statement to be returned in the function. If I run, you can see nothing is coming, because here we have defined the function and function is just called here, but we are not catching the value. This function will return some value, but we are not catching that value, or we are not printing that value. So I will just remove this. I will just cut this, and I will do is I will define a variable to catch the value. Let message So this is a message variable, and for the message variable I will be receiving value from the function. The function hello will be returning some value, and that value will be assigned to this variable called message. In the next line I am just consoling the message, console.log of message. So here what will be printed, the value received to this message variable will be printed here. If I run this, you can see the magic hello user. So how this is coming? Because our function is returning a string, and that string will be received to this variable. When I call the function here, the value will be provided here. That means that this return value will be available here. So that value is getting assigned to this variable called message. So in the next line we are printing message. Okay, that's why we are getting the output here. And now let's try consoling something above the return statement, like console.log of start executing function. So I'm just consoling just above the return statement, start executing function. This is a string I am printing just above the return statement, and if I hit the run, you can see the statement had printed like start executing function, and below that only the returned value is getting printed. And I am adding another line, I am pasting another line here, end executing function. That line is just written below this return statement. Then if I run, you can see that won't be printed. Why? Because the return will act as the last statement of this function. So below the return statement nothing will be executed, and these statements just, so below the return statement anything inside the function, that means the line 5, line 6 or line 4 won't be executed, because return will act as the last statement of a function. So the execution, function execution will stop in this line. Below this line, like line 4, 5, 6 won't be executed. Means the lines just above the closing bracket of the function and lines below the return statement won't be executed, because the function had ended here, because the calculations, everything, or all the functionalities inside the function will be executed above the return statement, and return will be giving the value after all the calculations in the above lines. Return will give the final output, and there the function call ends. So that's how the return statement inside a function works. So hope you guys got an idea about return statement in a function. If you need detailed notes about this chapter, then you can just go to the website called Smart Code Helper. Go to the website called Smart Code Helper, that is smartcodehelper.com, and you can just search for the chapter 4, and then you can get the notes like chapter 4 notes, JavaScript for React beginners. And if you open, then here you can see a lot of examples using return in JavaScript. So all the notes you can just read out, you can just try out these codes. Here you can see the great example, and a lot of examples you can see here. Also I'll be posting questions to practice in these notes, so you can try out those questions, and you can practice and become an expert in JavaScript. If you want questions to solve, then just check out Smart Code Helper and the chapter name by searching. Then you will get the questions to solve and its solutions. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do like, share and subscribe. This is Sriraj Meleth signing off.